Over your dating drama. And the thing is about dating drama is that it's not just dating, right? It spills over into all kinds of different areas of our lives, and it feels really crazy. And what we're talking about today is this whole pattern of attracting the same person over and over again, and you feel like you're going nuts, right? So what do we mean by the same person over and over again? It could be the same partner over and over again, right? That's what I do. That's the thing. So it could be an unavailable man. It could be that you're always attracted to a man that has a girlfriend or a partner or another love interest, dare I say a wife, right? It happens. So that could be one scenario, is the unavailable man. Unavailable can also look like someone who's single, but they're not wanting to be in a relationship with you, and or they don't have the emotional horsepower, right? They just don't have the capacity. They don't have the freaking bus fare for you. Do you know what I mean? They're not available. They're not able to do it. Another possible scenario is friends, right? Attracting the same kind of friend over and over again, the same kind of toxic friends, the same kind of narcissistic friends, the ones that are always calling you in a crisis, and it's all drama, right? So that's another possible scenario. Another one is like the needy coworker, like Sharon from accounting, that always comes over and is like, oh, let me tell you about the weekend that I had. Sharon isn't going over to anyone else. Sharon's going over to you, right? Sharon has homed in on you subconsciously and gone, this is the person to tell my drama to. There's some people who are just not available for that. There are some people in that office who she would never dream to go up to, but she's going up to you. Why is that, right? And in these scenarios, it's really easy to blame Sharon because she's a nightmare, and that may well be true, that may be accurate. It's really easy to look at the friend and think that there's something wrong with them. That may also be the case. It's also really easy to look at the man and be like, oh, well, if he's seeing someone, then he shouldn't have been texting me. Also true. And you're the common denominator. All right, and I say that with compassion because I've been there too, so I understand. What I ultimately realized is that it was my pattern, and I got really, really curious about why that pattern existed. We keep attracting the same person over and over again, whether it's a love interest, lover, someone we want to be with, whatever the case is, the same friend, the same coworker, the same client, the same person sliding into our DMs. Maybe it's a different person, but the pattern's the same. We do that because there's a lesson to learn. Once we've learned the lesson, those people disappear. It's like magic, like abracadabra, and people fall away. It's wild. So what can we do to learn those lessons? Well, I have some journaling prompts for you, and this is actually straight from Infinite Love, which is my membership program. The doors are closed right now, and I don't even know when I'm opening them again. But we have new videos every Monday, and this week's video is about this very topic. So here are some journaling prompts, and maybe I'll put them in the description of the video as well once this is once the replay is up. So if you're watching live, get a pen and write these down. So thinking about this person, thinking about the thing that's really bothering you. Is it a love interest? Is it a friend? Is it a co-worker, client, audience member, random stranger on the train station, random person sliding into your DMs? First of all, who's the person and what's the pattern? Right? And is that a pattern for you? So let's start off and lay the groundwork, get the foundation laid. What is the pattern, right? What's the person? What's the scenario? And is that a pattern for you? So we've been through those examples. We all understand that, right? So let's get the lay of the land first, and then thinking of that person and that pattern, the needy coworker, the unavailable dude, whatever. Answer these questions, journal on them, and actually journal on them. Don't just like watch this then move on with your life. Actually journal, because this is going to be very, very illuminating for you, because I've used these questions myself to sort out my own patterns. First question, how is this pattern familiar to me? How is this pattern familiar to me? Second question, who does this person remind me of? Who does this person remind me of? Right, from your life, from your childhood, from any time earlier than now. Who does this person remind you of? It's probably going to be someone that was very influential in your life. It could be a parent, it could be a teacher, an authority figure, someone you knew before probably the age of 6, definitely before or during your teenage years, usually not much later. Someone that really had a deep psychological impact on you, on your psychological imprint, right? Next question is, what fears, traumas, triggers, or experiences of mine is this person rubbing up against? What fears, triggers, traumas, or experiences of mine is this person rubbing up against? And that will be very illuminating for you as well. And finally, what do I fear will happen if I assert myself with this person? What do I fear will happen if I assert myself with this person? So this final question is really, really important, and I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler. So if you're watching on the replay and you want to pause and do this journaling first, then that's really, really good. What do I fear will happen if I assert myself with this person? This is critical, because if this person reminds you of a parent or an authority figure, and that pattern started then, let's say it was a parent that expected you to be their emotional caretaker, right? You took on very adult problems from a very young age. And when you did not partake in this non-consensual support, right, which is emotional incest, actually, that's what it is. When you were placed in a role that's not appropriate for a child to be in, when you were not in the role of son or daughter, and you were in the role of confidant or best friend to the parent. I could do a whole video on why parents should not be best friends with their children. That's a whole other topic. Like, you should not be best friends with your kids. You should not be best friends with your parents. They're your parent. They're not your friend. We have our own friends for that, right? It totally fucks up the whole dynamic, and it's unhealthy and really dysfunctional. Because what happens is the parent steps out of the parenting role, and so someone in that scenario needs to be in the parenting role. And if the parent isn't in it, the child will be. So the child becomes the parent. And you can just imagine from there what kind of fuckery and skullduggery takes place when that's the scenario, right? And by the way, this is not blaming anyone. No one's wrong, no one's bad. We're all doing the best with what we know, right, at the time that we know it. And we're all doing the best at our level of awareness. So there's that. And someone can't teach you what they don't know themselves. So if they haven't mastered their own mind and their own psyche, their own inner world, they're certainly going to bring some of that baggage to raising you. And look, raising kids is hard, right? It's hard. Everyone's doing their best. However, if you are placed in the role of emotional caretaker or physical caretaker, right? If one of your parents or your guardians or your caregivers was sick, again, no fault of their own, right? They were mentally ill, emotionally not healthy, or physically unwell. You were the caretaker. So what does that teach you? That teaches you that your needs are not as important as someone else's, that someone else's needs take precedent over your needs. And so is it really any surprise that Sharon from accounting comes over and you're like, oh, let me listen to this fucking crazy person? Because in your mind, you're like, this is the pattern. And what happened when you were a kid and you didn't conform to